you so much for coming. All right. So, yes, I am the team lead of Oak Academic Tutors, and the Oak Parent Circle is a monthly conversation we have, that centers on topics that help to develop a well-rounded child. All right. And of course, for over 15 years, I've been working with children. I've been on a mission to ensure that, no child's brilliance is silenced by their environment. And if you ask me about that, I have a lot to say about that. But of course, we are here tonight and we appreciate everyone that has, set out time to be here with us. We are also hoping that others will join us. I know that I know what it's like sometimes to be intelligent, sometimes to have a lot of things to say, excuse me, to have an idea, to have a brilliant idea at that, and you just feel you're not enough, or you feel that, or it's been that you've been so silenced that you feel your ideas will not count, or it's nothing to write home about. And because of that, you're quiet. Because of that, you allow others to shine their light while you're just there at the corner feeling bad that, oh, I would have opened my mouth to talk. So this evening, we are here, to discuss and to have a conversation with an expert. Trust me, she has been here before and it was a swell time we had, and she's here once again. So at Oak Academy, we don't just teach subjects. Yes, we build the confidence that allows a child to own their voice. I want to believe that parents will agree with me that that's what the word is about, because in the world of today, if you do not have a voice, then I'm sorry, that person will just be, at a corner, and the person will live a kind of frustrated life, which is something we do not want for our children. So how do we help them? So I'm excited to be joined by Miss Daisy, a certified emotional intelligence practitioner expert. She's an educator of a veteran at that. Yes. So tonight we are going to dive deep into how we can raise a child who isn't just quiet and good. I have a good child. Oh, my child is good. My child doesn't do this. My child doesn't say some, foul languages and all. But if you search deep down, you will see that sometimes the good in quotes is not really the good that we expect it to be. There are children that are probably have been emotionally silent, and that's why we are here today. So yes, Miss Daisy, thank you so much for joining us. Tonight we'll be having a conversation, and it centers around the topic raising emotionally balanced child, raising emotionally balanced child or children. So once again, if your hands are not too busy, I want you to join me in welcoming our beautiful coach, our beautiful expert. Thank you for coming. Please let me see your emojis. Let me see your emojis flying, rolling in. Thank you once again for joining us. So all right. So, Ms. Daisy, I don't know if you have a word for parents just to, welcome them with us before we dive into the conversation, into the questions we have, for you tonight.
Okay, my name is Daisy of Daisy Parenting. That's how I like being addressed. I have served children for I was saying 17 years. The other day, my sister said no, 19 years, because the school I manage is going to be 20 years next year. So she said 19.
Wow.
So I have served children in all kinds of capacities for 19 years. I have worked with parents for those 19 years. I have tried different strategies and styles. I have learned from my mother, who's a teacher, my grandmother, who was a teacher. She passed on. I still am learning from my mom and the very many other bosses I have who are, experts in not just education, but in raising children in parenting. I'm also a qualified parents coach. I am a teacher, a qualified one, home and abroad.
Ooh.
Yes, so I have served children. I have seen the good, the bad, the ugly.
Oh.
I may not have the huge concepts to throw at us tonight, but just like growing up as a child, I was that one who was very quiet. I still am quiet for those that believe me. I was that quiet child who will not want to raise her hands up, who will not want to be pointed at to answer questions in front of people. So, coming from that kind of background, I seem to have an idea um, about what children like that face. I have an idea of what children who are really very confident in themselves and those who are shy also have to battle with inside of their minds, because I've met all kinds of children apart from also experiencing things like that. So I am glad to be in this meeting tonight and to have this conversation with parents. Coach, teacher, follow. That's what I call her. I call her teacher, follow. When I saw the topic, raising children who emotionally balanced children, I
Yeah.
said, but teacher knows that I don't like the word balanced. So I quickly
Oh.
went on and got um, I went on and got words that I'm going to use. So balance. So when we're talking tonight, I need you to understand that balance does not mean perfection. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean this place is equal to that place. Um, yeah, just to clarify the air. Thank you very much. We can dive in.
So I want to believe that parents, you have your writing materials already, and we haven't even started, but we are getting a clarification that balance does not mean perfect. That balance does not mean that your child will have it all. There are certain things we are going to look at, like attributes or characteristics of of an emotionally balanced child, or yes, so to speak, based on the topic we have. So we are going to dive straight in. And in our Nigerian context, we often praise children, for being quiet. I remember at the early stage of parenting myself, I used to, in my mind anyway, of course, we know that it's not a good thing to compare children, but sometimes somewhere in your mind, even as somebody who works with children, you tend to look at this child and the other child, and you're like, oh, I love the fact that this child does not stress me, in quotes, yeah. And this other one, wow, it's kind of challenging to get this other one to do certain things. So we know that, yes, in the Nigerian context, our parents tend to look at this child, oh, my child is quiet, my child is easygoing. How can a parent tell the difference between a child who is naturally calm and one who has simply learned to, or who has been silenced out of fear? How do we tell the difference?
Okay, so I would say that for the parents, it might be quite difficult to tell the difference, especially when you're with a child. However, we have communities around us. We have people that work with us in our parenting journey. We have extended family members also. We go to church, we go to the mosque, children go to school. And so while the children are at school, sometimes you would receive messages from the teacher saying that the child acted this way and that way. And you're like, okay, so is it possible that the child is actually not as quiet as I thought she was? I'll give an example. So I have this child in my classroom who the parents, I was having a conversation with the teacher, and she said to me that in the class, this child responds to questions. This child is very confident in herself.
Mm.
This child doesn't care really if 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 she responds wrongly, she doesn't mind being corrected. But it was quite different from what the reports the parents seem to have given her about the child, being one who hardly talks, one who is quiet at home, who stays on her own. So you hear something different from the teacher and you see something different at home.
Yeah.
And so the question, how do you know? The teachers will tell you, people will tell you. Sometimes body language of the child will even tell you. So at times the child wants to act in a certain way and holds himself back or holds herself back because the person is conscious of the fact that there is an eye watching. Okay, so usually the easiest way to find out, the easiest way to know is body language. Children are so easy to observe because of the way they communicate through their body language.
All right, thank you so much. Now, based on your response, can we now say that, so from the scenario you created, it's as if the child is free or freer in school than at home. So can we now say that the child has or is being silenced at home or is afraid to do certain things at home because of some consequences than in school? What do you think?
Of course, I think what the issue could be, because anything that has to do with children, many times, if you're going to have to respond to them, you need to look at the context around it. So, what is the home background like? Does the child live with parents? Does the child stay with grandparents? Does the child live in a single kind of home? What are the dynamics that play out in the home that would have caused the child to not be as expressive as he or she would be in the classroom? Also, what is the teacher doing differently that is not being done at home? It's possible the child is being silenced. It's possible the adult caregiver, the primary adult caregiver, and you need to know that, especially with these JAPA things that are going on now, sometimes some children will have to spend time in the boarding house because their parents need to travel out of the country, settle in, and then take them there. So the children there are going to have primary caregivers as the teachers or as the dorm mistress and the rest. So who is the primary caregiver of the child at that point? Sometimes it's this auntie that the child has to stay with while the parents are away for that period of time. Sometimes it's even the parents. So who is the person with? How is the person parenting the child? Is the person shutting the child up? If it is the parent, what kind of parenting style is this parent employing? Is he authoritative or is he an authoritarian? Does he listen to the child? So yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, yes, you did. Thank you so very much. So sometimes parenting style also, dictates or influences how expressive a child can be and how well they
Oftentimes.
can. Yes, most times. So parenting style and sometimes to the methods being used by the adult caregiver, either the parent or the significant adult in their lives. Because, sometimes teachers as a professional, would sometimes deploy some methods, not just one. Once I notice that a child probably I'm not getting the best from this child, I'll try to look at other methods I can, use to ensure that the child comes out of his or her shell. But the
Exactly.
parent in this case might not be as knowledgeable. So most times it's a case of the parent is ignorant of some of these things and they feel that, oh, as long as they are providing, the basic needs and necessities for the child, and they are good. And as long as the child sometimes answer their questions and all of that, not knowing that they are still not getting the best, they are still not, getting to know that child for who that child truly is. So thank you
And
so much for.
apart from that, so just to add,
Yeah.
apart from that, I think in the Nigerian context, it's usually even more difficult because nobody
Wow.
checks parents. So that when you even post something on parenting pages, people say nobody should tell me how to raise my child. It's my child, and so one plus one cannot be two in parenting, two plus two cannot be four, which in some way could be correct, but
Yeah.
there's always a principle to doing things. However, in the classroom, the teachers are checked,
Yeah.
questions are asked. So it makes it a bit easier. That's why I say dynamics oftentimes, has a very huge role to play in these things.
Thank you so very much for that. All right. So yes, I often share how being a quiet child impacted my own confidence. And in this case, yes, I know that I'm naturally quiet, but my adult life has taught me that there are some instances, there are some situations that require that I open my mouth to talk. But I feel that somehow my environment didn't do justice to helping me, decipher or identify those times where I need to talk. So in most cases is the point, or is a case that I'm not happy about certain things, and I see myself not saying it out, just having that voice or that conversation in my head and with myself. You understand what I mean? So I often share so from a practitioner's perspective, what happens to a child's long-term academic and life success when they feel they cannot express their unique ideas for being shut down? What happens in the long run? What are the consequences when a child feels that I can't talk, nobody will listen to me, nobody will buy into what I say? What are the consequences of that happening over time?
Of course, you mentioned one already. Welcome,
Yeah.
Kichi. You
Yeah.
mentioned one already,
Yeah.
confidence. That's the first thing. You
Yeah.
will lose your confidence. I also grew up a quiet child. And I was just talking to somebody this evening and saying to her that there are certain things that happened in our childhood that have just remained there, that it's so difficult to wipe out. I remember when I was because we used to have primary one and then pre-one. So if you hadn't gotten up to 6 years, you would be in pre-one before getting to primary one. And so that day, from a very quiet nursery school, my mom comes and drops me in pre-one, and the classroom was full of people. And I was wondering how to I can't forget it. We did
Oh,
spellings that day. This is when I was just about 5 years, and it has stuck in my head. We had
oh,
spellings that day, and I couldn't get one spelling because I was scared. I was not a
oh,
confident child. I was a very shy child. Now,
oh,
apart from family background and dynamics around family and maybe genetics, I don't know about biology, so much about biology, but I know my mom is also a very shy person and would rather be in her house than go out. Apart from that, I think the question is, before I run away from the question is, how does it affect the children in the
yeah,
long run?
the long
It
run. Yeah.
hampers with the child's confidence. It comes into the way the child relates with people. When I moved
Mm,
into the UK, I must confess, it was a very difficult one for me to speak up. So I'll be with my colleagues. I still don't speak up, by the way, but in a more constructive way.
yeah.
So the way I would sit down with my colleagues, and in my head I'm like, am I worthy of
Mm,
having this conversation?
conversation.
Should I bring this up? And so in the classroom, it's easy for me to identify children who are also facing such challenges, and
Yeah.
that's the good part of it. That's why sometimes our parents would have made, sorry for my the things I'm going to be saying, but like I said, I don't know to use all those big constructs. I just break them down, maybe because I'm a teacher. I usually will not blame, you know, our parenting, the parenting we received, and what's happened in the past, because I feel like everything we have received, has helped shape who we have become. And so
Mm,
I feel like if I didn't go through the rigors I went through as a child, as a shy, introverted child, I won't be able to, in the classroom now, identify those children, so that when I even see them, sometimes I want to really cry, because
mm.
I
You
feel what they are
feel what they
feeling.
feel. Mm,
Yes, and I'm so passionate about helping children like that. Anyway, it affects your confidence, it affects the way you relate with people. So back to my story with my colleagues, it will be so difficult for me to speak up,
mm.
and then it becomes even more difficult when the person shuts you up. So you want to say
Wow.
something, and the
Yeah.
person just shuts you up.
Interrupt.
So
Mm-hmm.
inside your head, you're like, okay, I'm not going to say anything again. However, there are some other people who they will shut up, and the person will say, but I haven't finished saying what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and then by yourself, you now start to, so it affects your confidence level, and the confidence still seeps its way into the relationships, maybe, or even your marriage, and the very many other relationships you have. And then even
Mm.
affects the way the child learns, so that the child shuts down. There's something about anxiety and worry.
Especially when they are being corrected, right? To
Exactly.
correct that child and they feel,
So the
I
child
don't have
won't even,
anything.
so oftentimes the child won't even, once you want to correct, the person is already scared. So that learning part of the brain
It
shuts down.
starts.
And the person is saying, how do I run away from this? How do I prevent this? So the child cannot learn. The child is not even willing to make mistakes anymore, because when you make a mistake, you learn from the mistake, oftentimes, depending on things, the factors around. So the child is not able to learn like the child would have learned if the child was more confident than the child is. So yeah.
Wow.
Learning, confidence, relationships. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much. So we are here, and one of the reasons why we're here, tonight, is to enlighten parents, because the truth remains that some parents are still not aware of some of these things. And we talk about literacy, we talk about literacy in reading and writing, and all of those things. So if we are here to enlighten parents, or to pass across knowledge on being emotionally intelligent, how can we help them, help parents, how can parents help their children move past, just the I'm fine kind of, child. Oh, I'm fine. How are you doing today? I'm fine. How was school? I'm fine. How can we help them move their children past that to accurately naming their big feelings, to that point where they are conscious of their emotions, and not just being conscious of it, but they are able to express it. They're able to express it, politely and in the right situations. At least they let people around them know what is going on the inside of them. They are not ready to put it down, to shut it down. How can we help parents, do that?
Okay, so I would always say to parents that your child is a human being, just like you are a human being. So what you feel, your child feels.
Yeah.
The major difference is that you know what you're feeling. Your child doesn't know what he's feeling, doesn't understand. May know, but doesn't understand what it is he or she is feeling. You feel angry, you already know what to do. Keep quiet, You're sad, you're happy, you know how, you gist with your friends is what happened and the rest. Sometimes you're sad, you don't want to speak to anybody.
Yeah.
Some of us don't even practice. We know these things, but we don't know how to use them. We don't use them. We know them, but we don't use them. We don't practice them, is the word. So you're upset about what the child has done, and you just lash out on the child. Meanwhile, our children are learning from everything we are doing. So you're saying to them, do this, but you're doing something contrary on the other hand. And follow you, you're a teacher, and in the classroom, we know that children learn better when you do and they do. So they're watching you do and then they're doing. So that even as an English teacher, you give an example, more like you teach and then you model it, then you do it together, then you ask them to do it.
Them to play. Yeah.
So we, the parents, do not even know how to regulate these emotions. We don't know how to feel sad. Or we know how to feel sad, but we don't practice what we know about feeling sad and how to do it properly. So you know that you're sad and you're upset that this child has spilled the milk, but you don't know that you need to take deep breaths, but you have not
But you've not
practiced
learned how to do it, like to the
yes,
point
not
that it
practiced
becomes
it so that
a
it
habit.
becomes an unconscious thing that comes
Yeah.
out for you. So that for each time the child spills the milk, you just lash out on the child. You shout, you hit, and you back up more like you give excuses for acting the way you have acted. So when the child sees her sibling do the same thing and the child screams, maybe you're having a meeting in your room and then you scream, you wonder why the person is screaming. Why are you shouting at your sister? Are you supposed to be shouting? But that's what I see you do, and that's how I know to do. So the first step in guiding and helping the children is you doing it first of all. Know that you need to learn to get to that calm space. If you need to listen, just the way we listen to words of affirmation for finance, for spirituality, for career, is the way you would also make out time to listen to affirming words, to listen to coaches that practice things like calmness and how to be calm. You learn it. You do it every day. It becomes a part of you. So that when a thing like that happens, you're not reacting. You're not acting like you saw a snake or a lion entered your room. You're normal. Like maybe you've just seen a cockroach and you want to kill the cockroach. You are not. You are responding. You are not reacting. The children see you respond. The children learn to respond.
I have a question on that. So you made a statement that some parents, most parents, yes, in as much as I agree that sometimes parenting can be instinctive in the sense that, especially for we mothers, we know that some things, okay, this is the right thing to do in this situation. But could it also be that some parents now were not taught how to, how to express their emotions when they were younger, such that they had knowledge, they are aware that, okay, when I'm angry, I'm supposed to take a deep breath or count, up to 10, or I'm supposed to walk away or do some of those, practice some of these things. They know, but they are not practicing because it probably is not part of them. So yes, it takes us to the point that parents need to so it's like retraining yourself, how, if I can put it that way. So for instance, if you have reflected and you know that you probably were not exposed to some of these things when you were younger, I think the onus lies on us. And that's why sometimes I share with parents. Some parents, yes, are ready to learn because they know that times have changed and the methods being used or that was used by our parents then, well, even though it worked for them, but might not be applicable to the kind of children we have now. But don't you think that is because they too have not practiced such that it's stays in their subconscious, because he said they know, but they don't do. And of course, we know that children learn from what they see you do as their parents. What can you say about that?
So I think there's an Igbo proverb that says, I'm not sure I'm correct, but it says something in the lines of, your parents will train you to a certain aspect and then you continue the
Bring
training
yourself,
yourself.
yeah, yeah,
Good.
yeah.
So you get to a certain point in your life, you tell yourself, you didn't learn this, you didn't see this while growing. However, it's possible because the parents were ignorant or they chose not to just do it, or they did not have the opportunity to even, follow through the process. And then you tell yourself that you will do it. So you sit up and take it seriously and pay attention to it and then follow through. It's just like these days we have in the classroom. I mean, when I'm teaching children, you want to give examples. You can't talk about Facebook with these Gen A children now. What do they know Facebook is? Some of them will talk about Facebook fine, but very few. So maybe in the classroom, 3% of them are involved or know anything about Facebook. Others are talking about Snapchat and TikTok. So will I say I don't know anything about Snapchat? My era, I'm a millennial, so I don't know about, so I'm not going to learn. Of course, if you're going to work with these people and you're going to progress in your work with them, then you need to know what they know. You need to learn their slangs. What is 6, 7? So that when you're in the classroom, you will know the class to mention 6, 7 in, and the class not to mention 6, 7 in. Because in some classrooms, when you mention, let's turn to page 67, 6 and 7, the class will go haywire. In another classroom, you will say 67, 6, and they will just stare. So if you don't know those things, how do you now serve these children? How do you ensure that they are balanced emotionally? You need to come, like us teachers, they'll tell us that we need to come down to their level. If I want to teach a year 7 child about a noun, and this thing happened on Friday, we were doing nouns. So I said, what is a noun? And then they said, a noun is the name of an animal, place, or thing. And I wanted to write it on the board, but what was coming to my head is a noun is the name of anything. And I remembered the class I was teaching, and I said to myself, I learned that a noun is the name of anything when I was doing English in the university. So you need to come down to their level. What is a noun for them now? Because if you tell them a noun is the name of anything, it means when they are sitting down, sitting is a noun for the class I was teaching at that point, So you need to calm down physically by sitting down with them and having a conversation with them, and also calm down metaphorically by your thinking and what you say to them. So yes, learn about these things, and nobody has an excuse except you've not heard about it before. But with social media and with the internet, everything flies everywhere. Most of us just choose not to do it because we feel like it worked for our parents, it should be able to work for us, forgetting that our parents' days have come and gone, and we are now in AI. Anything you do
Yeah,
AI,
yeah.
AI will reorganize it for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, well, all I can say is I know we have intentional parents in on this call, and I can say from your response that it requires intentionality. You need to be intentional about parenting as a parent in this time and age. And secondly, is the fact that you need to keep upgrading your knowledge, keep retraining yourself, teaching yourself on certain things you're not aware of, also be observant because it requires us as parents or as teachers or as a significant adult in the lives of these children to know what is happening around about the 6 7. I remember a child says that in my class initially.
We have to ban it in school.
What's
No
this
more
child? What's this?
6 7.
Can you imagine? So we need to just be observant to know what is happening with them and to guide them on the right path.
I
Thank you
think
so much for yes, go ahead.
just I think the right word to maybe use is intent is taking parenting seriously. I think we are so busy chasing so many other things that we forget the primary thing. That is the moment you bring a child to the world, it never ends anymore.
Mm,
You just can't, you parent forever. The moment you
wow.
start parenting, you parent forever, and it's a job that needs to be taken seriously. However, we don't take it seriously. So yes, intentionality, and be very serious about it.
Be very serious about it because, of course, for Christians amongst us, we know that definitely we are still going to give accounts. Yeah.
Of
So
course, there are the
yes,
nations in your care, so do you even have a choice? The
you do
nations
not.
are not the ones that are outside. They
You
are
you
there,
do
but
not.
how many nations stay in your house? If you have 4 kids, you have 4 nations. So
You do not. I remember a
I
school
don't
I once worked, with. At the end of a session, there's this meeting we have with our directors, and they will tell teachers one after the other. They will call you to one corner. So there's a podium, and everybody is seated, and each of you goes to the We are asked to go to the accountability corner. They call it accountability corner. So it's like you're there to give an account of what transpired in your class in the course of the session, how the children that we put under your care fed, and how you were able to help them academically and in other aspects. So yes, I need to also remind parents in the house that if you have questions, feel free, to drop your questions in the comment section, and we'll definitely read it out once it's time for that. So to our next question, many parents struggle when a child disagrees with them. They have this thing at the back of their mind that, oh, no, because you are the child and I am the parent, I don't expect you to disagree with my probably my opinions or my ideas and things. How do we teach parents to view a child's disagreement not as disrespect, but as a first step towards building the confidence that we so desire in them? I was once in a training session with teachers, and I was telling them, teachers, sometimes we tend to, shut these children up to say, oh, you are talking too much. Of course, yes, there are times to, based on the rules in the classroom, there are times children are expected to express themselves and all of that. And is going out of boundaries that you tend to, quieting them down or try to reduce the noise level and all of that. But you see some people consistently quieting children down, consistently shut them down. Then how do you build confidence in them? If you do not engage your child, in constructive conversations, how do you expect them in the future to stand as probably members of the board of an organization or as a CEO to address their employees? So I feel that it starts from basic things as this. So how do we help parents? How do we teach parents to view a child's disagreement not as disrespect, but as a first step towards building confidence in their child?
okay, teacher, you ask me question, you answer the question, you start answering the question already.
Oh my goodness.
I'll take it on from where you
Somebody said teachers are very it's very easy to identify teachers anywhere you go.
Okay, so yes. So the way I see parenting and maybe family units in general is I am a Christian as far as though I also work with science-based, results and data. I also work with principles from my belief system, and that's the Bible. And so I believe that my maker just says, this girl, Daisy, has faced this and this and this, or is going to face this and this and this. In that case, she's going to be able to handle these 4 children. So I'm sending them her way. She should sort them out in the home. And so he sends them to us, and then we start to ship the children. The children come in different packages and different sizes with different personalities and all sorts. And then with the experience we have with our manufacturer's manual, we start to mold them and build them. Now, we're not molding them and building our children to go and live together as siblings. Yeah. We're molding our children and building them and putting them together to be able to face the world.
Yeah.
Every parent wants the child to be able to advocate. You want your child to be confident. I mean, when you say raising an emotionally balanced child, I think you're trying to say raising a child that knows how to regulate himself or herself. So if you find yourself in a market square, you know what to do. Yeah. If you find yourself in a boardroom meeting, you know what to do. If you find yourself anywhere, you know how to comport yourself and how to regulate whatever it is that comes up in your body. So if you're raising children who are going to go outside to meet the world, how will these children ask questions outside if they cannot ask questions in the home? So your child is going to ask you questions, especially with the Gen Zs who are raising these days and the Gen Alphas. I don't know the latest one. I think it's a Gen X now, I think. With these ones that we're raising now, they're going to say why a lot of times. Put on the television. Yeah. Why?
Why?
In the classroom. Can you open your books, Miss? Why? Why? Because I said open your book. And I say why? Because Miss said it. I know it's wrong, but then I'll just find a way. Anyway, so your child is going to ask you questions, and the natural thing that comes up for us African parents and especially Nigerian parents is, oh, Nyekibu, who are you to ask me such a question? So I think first of all, parents need to understand that it is not disrespect. It is the child actually truly wanting to know. Yeah. I understand some children can be, mischievous. They know, but they just want to know what you're going to do. That is actually the child testing boundaries. The child wants to know what you're going to accept and what you're not going to accept. So I would say that parents need to understand that first of all, it's just take disrespect out of the picture and then come into the communication and conversation you're having with the child with a very open mind. Many times, okay, so I'll give another example. So your child sees something, maybe some sexual content, maybe you're watching a movie and something just pops up, or maybe YouTube, you know how those adverts just show up. And for you, the adult, you just move and you quickly, and the child is there watching and wondering, Mommy, what's going on? They truly don't know what's going on, but you already have things in your head. So many times that disrespect is in your head. It's not in their head. They are truly asking, why shouldn't I? And so when you shut them up, when they go out to the classroom, they can't ask why. They can't raise their hands to respond to questions and fail. Because they feel like if they fail, it's going to be really very problematic. They can't advocate for themselves. They can't speak up for themselves because asking you questions or maybe even questioning certain things that happen in the home is seen as disrespectful, and they don't truly want to be disrespectful because every child, no matter how, as a teacher in the classroom, have you ever tried to speak about somebody's parents, even if the parent has done something truly very wrong that the whole world can see it is wrong? Sometimes these children say they try to protect their parents. No, it couldn't. Are you trying to say that my mom does not have manners or my mom did not treat me well? The children are so protective of their parents. They want to do right by their parents. And so when they go out to the outside world, when they go outside, it's difficult for them to, fail their parents. They don't want to be seen in a certain light. And so they won't be confident in themselves. They won't be able to ask questions. They won't be able to communicate effectively. They won't even know boundaries because you're not allowing them in the home. You feel like they are disrespectful. So they don't know. They just keep quiet and you do the talking. And that's why even in the classroom now, Fulu, I'll always bring classroom in because that's all I know to talk
Yeah.
about. So even in the classroom, oftentimes we just teach for 10 minutes. You just talk your talk for 10 minutes and allow the children do the others. And
Yeah.
it's an opportunity for you to learn from them. So
Yeah.
you're not the one talking, you're learning from 30 other heads
Yeah.
in the classroom. Yeah. So yeah, I hope I answered the question.
All right. Thank you so very much. So I see that for parents that probably have the notion that when their child disagrees with them. So first thing first, based on what Ms. Daisy has said, is to take disrespect out of the picture, and of course not ruling out the fact that sometimes some children can have the tendency to, to be mischievous, but have it as an opportunity to actually, and as a learning point for them, for you to enlighten them. So take it as they truly would like to know. So look at it from the communication angle that, oh, so this is an opportunity for me to teach my child or to enlighten my child. These two, first of all, start with what they feel or what they think about that particular thing, and to enlighten them, to guide them. If probably they have a wrong notion about it, is an opportunity for you to put them on the right path as regards that. Thank you so much for that response. And
another thing is, sorry, please.
yes,
Ahmed
yes,
has said
please.
he can't hear you. I don't know if
Oh,
that's one. Then another thing is even peer pressure. You know, if we can't allow our children speak in the home, if we don't give them the opportunity to ask questions, be themselves, and just live in the home, it's going to be difficult for them to resist peer pressure. So oftentimes you find out that those children are the ones that are bullied.
true,
So yeah,
true, true, true.
that's another
All
point I
right.
needed. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's absolutely correct. Even for those that are probably the confident ones. I once had a situation in my class. Mr. Ahmed, can you confirm if you can hear me now, please? Can you hear us now? You might need to do that because I think we are clear here. You might need to check your volume and probably leave the meeting and join the call again. So I remember a situation that happened in my class some years back of a child that had done something wrong, and this was another child who felt what they had done was wrong. I was trying to correct them, and she was trying to not only correct them, but she was trying to bring it to my attention, to the teacher's notice, to make me know, or yes, keep me aware of what they had done. And I think they had to shut her down, because it was later I got to know that I wasn't aware. She later did not inform me. So I later called her to say, oh, I'm not happy that you are aware of this thing and you didn't bring it to my notice. And what she said, shocked me, and it's also buttressed what you just mentioned, that, oh, Ms. Omole, I will want them to continue to be my friends. I don't want them to, shut me out of the friendship circle. So because of that, she did not report what they had done, which was wrong. So even for the so-called confident ones, I think it puts them in a corner, in a situation whereby they are not able to stand with what is right. And I think that it's very important that we get our children to just talk and learn to express
Chapolo,
themselves.
and this your point is a very key point, especially for
Yeah,
immigrant parents. So if you're an
yeah.
immigrant parent, I mean your child, you live abroad and you have children going to schools here. Oh, I think that should be topic for another day because the
Wow.
children are going through a lot emotionally, a whole lot emotionally, especially when it comes to peer pressure and having to do, what other people are doing, having to stand out and not do what other people are doing. Maybe it's a topic you should also consider for the people,
Mm.
immigrant parents especially. Yeah, they need to know because most of these are parents that are here, are so busy working, they don't know what's going on in the lives
With
of
their
the
children. Wow.
and that's one key one, very important.
Thank you so much for calling our attention to that. We'll definitely, look at that probably in the course of the year. So, to the next question, I remember reading a story, I think on social media or somewhere, where a man had just lost his wife and he had this little child that was just, I think it was a park, an open space where the child was just, playing, was very free and, I think throwing tantrums or was just, expressing himself. And the man just sat at the corner observing. And there was this lady that came to the man to say, "Oh, you are in a public space. Please, can you caution your child?" And the man looked her straight in the eyes to say, "I've just lost my wife and I do not even know how to express or to communicate that to my child. And that's why we are here." And, at the end of the day, the lady felt really bad uh, because she probably did not understand the situation the man was in before, calling his attention to, caution the child. And to my next question, it says, when a child has a meltdown, because like you mentioned earlier, they are children, the fact that they are children still does not rule out the fact that they also have emotions. They also get angry, they feel frustrated, they feel sad. There was a time I was jokingly telling my children, of course, I wanted to hear from them. I told them that I feel very tired. I'm so stressed out right now, and I don't feel like doing anything. I like, do you sometimes feel that way? And they said, yeah. See the way they they lashed at me to say, yes, mommy. And that's the way we feel sometimes when you will get back from school and you're calling us to do this. At the same time, daddy is calling us to do this. And at those times we are tired, we are stressed. Yeah? They are humans too. So how do we help parents, when that has a meltdown and most times our instinct is to quieten them, stop the noise, stop making noise, stop doing this and all of that. But what are the child-centered solutions we can offer parents to help them co-regulate, to help them get their children to that point where they can regulate their emotions, especially when they are not feeling so good, when they are having a meltdown, they are stressed out, they are tired, they are angry, they are sad. How can we teach children to help their teach parents rather to help their children, regulate their emotions at such times?
Okay, thank you. So parents need to first of all understand that there's a reason why they are the adults in the lives of the children. Okay, so as an adult in the life of your child, your brain is mature, except you're 22 years or 21 years, and even at that, some of us are already fully mature. Our brains are fully mature enough to manage emotions. So as an adult, as a parent, as an adult in the life of the child, when the child is throwing tantrums, you're supposed to be the calm in that chaos that is going on. The child is throwing tantrums because the child does not know what to do.
Yeah.
You know what to do, but sometimes you just choose not to do it. When working, I say to parents that you see this eye of the needle. Many parents are not going to be able to meet that thing to be able to enter kingdom of God. Honestly speaking, because that child at that point that is facing, experiencing those emotions that he can't explain, your duty is to find your own calm, because oftentimes we're so exhausted, we're busy with things going on in Nigeria and around the world. Everybody's
Yeah.
taking on 2, 3, 4 jobs these days. So you're exhausted mentally, physically, spiritually, and otherwise, even financially, you are
Yeah.
exhausted. All you just need is to hit your bed and sleep. And that's when the children know that they're going to have sibling rivalry. At that point, even with the chaos going on inside your body, your duty is to seek the help you need to seek from whomever it is you need to seek the help in that moment. You need to seek the help from the Holy Spirit that you believe in seeking. You need to seek help from music. Seek it. If you need to seek help from just taking deep breaths and taking them in and bringing them out, seek it, because you need it to be able to help the child. Two, have you ever seen a parent trying to nurse a child, a crying child? As long as that parent is not in that state of rest,
Yeah.
the child cannot be calm. The child will
Yeah.
continue to cry. And that's the reason why mothers, when they are panicky, and when you're crying, you're cuddling a child, and the child is crying, and you're panicking, the child won't calm down. It will take another adult to take that child, another
From
calm
them.
take the
Yeah.
child and nurse the child to quietness. And so it's the same principle that applies. You need to find your calm in that chaos, because it is not the child's business that you're going through that chaos at that point. Your duty is to find a way to help the child manage it. The reason our teenagers will walk out on us and slam doors is because they are experiencing some form of anger. You know, anger is an emotion, and emotions are chemical reactions in the body. What you just that you hit the door is the behavior from that chemical reaction. Now, that
Going
chemical
on
reaction is
inside.
what we know. My heart is beginning to beat, I'm upset, or I'm anxious at this point. We know it. The children don't know it.
Yeah.
What they just know is, this is how I felt, and I just hit the door. So you know that this is taking place in your body. I know that the next thing you're going to do is to give somebody one backhand. So because you know that if you don't manage what is going on in yourself, you will give somebody a backhand.
Yeah.
You will find that calm first, because and I say this to parents. Oftentimes, they'll tell me, "How do you find it in the spur of the moment when you're in your office and your boss is talking to you and you are upset?
You dare
You
not.
find it. So the way you find it with your boss,
Mm,
find it
mm,
with that child. Your child
yeah.
needs it more than your boss.
Mm.
The reason you're not doing it to your boss is because you stand to lose something. Your child, you feel you don't stand to lose anything with the child, but I wish you knew what you stood to lose. So
Yeah.
find the calm, and then, even sometimes, depending on how old the child is, you could even ask to have some space. Please, I've just come back from work. The last thing I need now is this chaos. Is it possible you just give me 5 minutes? I'll be with you people. Let me even find myself. I don't know where
Oh,
myself is. It's just my
yeah.
body I'm saying. Let me find myself first. Only 5 minutes, and I'll come back. In the meantime, you sit in the parlor. You sit in the room. Simple. And then you find your calm and come out and find out what's going on with them. Now, if the children are heated up, one thing we know, especially as teachers, is that no child learns when they see a snake. If a child has seen a snake, the only thing the child knows is that snake the child has seen.
Yeah.
The child wants to run away from the snake. Is there any way you're going to just take this snake away? And that's why we go against all those rods that people used to bring up to use and flog the children. Anyway, that's a talk for another day. But the child is just thinking of how to run away from that place. How do I manage this thing that's coming? It's scaring me. The child can't learn. You will only learn in a safe environment. You will only learn from a trusted person. And so if you want to teach a child something, how can you be talking to the child when the child is screaming and shouting? What you need to do at that point is to calm the child down. So you've calmed yourself down. Find a way to calm your child down. It is you who knows your child. I don't know your child. I can only give you strategies of calming the child down. So you calm your child down, and then the child has found his calm, then you can teach. If the child is not calm, you cannot teach.
Mm.
You can teach, but the child will not learn.
Learn.
If
Yeah.
your goal is to ensure that the child is going to learn what you're saying, then you will know that instead of wasting your time trying to teach in the spur of that moment, you just, and that's your exhaustion. You keep the little strength you have first, calm them down. And another thing is that we're usually in a hurry to
Yeah.
teach. Well, often usually in a hurry to teach. You need to know that feelings take time. Even you as a person, sometimes when you're really sad, you feel it intensely. And sometimes somebody calls you on the phone and you're like, this is the last thing I want to do now, answer a call. And
Yeah.
so you should know that you need to give the children time and space. In that time, you could say, I'm here with you if you need me at any point. I had this child that when you say, do you want a hug? They'll say, no, alone. So you just leave the child alone. The child will come around. Even if the child is taking time to come around, keep passing there and saying, I'm around. If you still need me, I'm here. If you need me, I'm here. I know sometimes it's difficult for us Nigerian parents. We always
Yeah. True. True.
but these things work. This is 19 years of experience. I'm not bragging, but it's something I've done. I've seen children graduate from the university. I've trained. I've seen it. It works. When you sit down with them, they tell you that these things work too. The child comes to you with tears in the person's eyes. There's a school policy that you should be in your class, but your emotions first. How are
Mm.
you? What's going on? You don't want to talk. Do you want to sit down here? Are you comfortable here? Do you want to go there? Okay, let me just quickly text this person. It might take 5 minutes of your teaching time. It might take 2 minutes of your personal time.
Yeah.
But attend to the child.
The connection
and then connect later with the child. And then depending on the age bracket of the child, for some children, like the younger ones, the toddlers, you want to immediately, those ones don't understand time now. So
wait. They
just wait and it just goes. So you said you want to hug mommy, or yeah, I'm going to give mommy a hug. Is that okay? And then you just spend 5 minutes and they forget. For some others, you distract them. Like my nephew came last weekend, and when he's eating, we'll be beating. They always say, go to Auntie Daisy, because that's the person that is going to be able to handle this your thing with me. And once he starts eating, he doesn't want to eat again. Then the next thing, he starts to scream and shout because there's a new baby, so he's also seeking attention. Wow. And then you just look for something to distract. Hey, come and see this spider. Come and see this. They're so easy to distract. So you quickly distract them before you know it. Emotions don't go with that. All those things they're feeling have left. So it depends on the age of the child. For teenagers, they might slam the door at you, and then you just open the door and say, "See, this thing you did, you will not do it again because it shows you are disrespectful." Do you hear me? No matter the kind of anger you feel, I will take it. Your teacher won't take it. You talk to the person, and then you not tell the person. So I'm going to leave you now. When you finish, you come. We need to talk. When you're ready, let me know. You might even give time. It has to be tonight. We cannot leave it. If you're a Christian parent, you could say, you remember the sun must not go down on your anger and things like that. So yeah, depending on. For children in the primary, you could even have, children learn a lot by visuals. Just put a visual board there, and they like to engage in all those things.
Yeah.
Parents, make parenting interesting. That's all. Put the visual board there. Let them paste. I feel sad today. They should just go and draw a sad face there for you, and then you have a conversation with them later.
Thank you so very much.
Exercise.
Thank you so very much for that detailed response. I want to believe that parents are learning, and trust me, if you have questions, if you have an idea, or you have an addition to what our coach, our expert is saying, of course, you can drop it in the chat. We are open to that. And to our next question, I want us to look at sometimes children developing the growth mindset, because in some circumstances or situations, you interact with children while you see one, taking whatever comes his way in good faith, the other is not. You see one child saying, or coming to you to say, oh, he has said he's not going to play with me anymore, and it's fine, somebody else will play with me, even from a child. Why the other one feels that, oh, nobody. In fact, there's one currently dealing with now, of this child I'm working with, and at every point in time he needs that validation. If you get to commend a child around him, the next thing you hear is, Mr. Mole, did I write well? Yeah. Oh, Mr. Mole, do you think my handwriting, Mr. Mole, you just gave him a sticker, can I have mine? Mr. Mole, can I have my high five too? And I begin to so how can we get to teach our children to develop that growth mindset, that irrespective of what comes their way, even if I'm probably solving math questions and I'm not getting it, yes, I might not get it now, I feel angry about it, I feel frustrated, but I know that I will still get it if I seek help, or if I take some time to cool off and all of that. How can we develop the growth mindset in our children?
Teacher Folu, is going to be difficult, especially in this our day and age that social media and the internet has taken over. Like I'd always say, parenting is about us, the parents, and it's more about us, the parents, than the children. And so, apart from being about the fact that it is about us, makes it even tough, because you're looking for money to pay bills, you're attending to family members and conflicts that are going on, you're having relationship issues, your boss is on one side needing reports from you. So it makes it even more difficult. Then social media now came, then AI now came. And so it's quite tough. Everybody is now looking for likes. If you post something on social media and I don't have 2 likes or I have 3 likes, then it means I haven't gotten the validation.
I'm not doing something right.
the last thing they have time for is, oh, you look so pretty today. Oh, my girl, you're so loving. You're so this. And every child, it's a basic need of a child.
Wow.
Every child needs to feel validated. It's a basic need. Love, affection, and the very many of them, there are 7 of them. Anyway, if we don't get it at home, we will definitely look for it in the future.
Elsewhere.
In our relationships, in the classroom, like the child you talk about. I know about one. Now, I would give one practical way, that you could do it as a parent or even as a teacher in the classroom. Now, as a parent, you should just know that that is a sign. That is some bomb ticking. The child is
Mm.
seeking validation. It means something is missing with
Mm.
this child.
Mm.
Something is missing with this child. Sometimes it's about the fact that the child is in the middle, or maybe the child is even the last one and hardly gets the attention.
So in this particular instance, I could figure it out because this is a child. I think the gap between him and the child before him, the child before him is like in, is it secondary school or about to enter university? So it's like there is a wide gap between him. It's like the very baby
Yeah.
of the house and even the parents. In fact, in some instances in school, when the parents are called upon to probably come for a conversation or a discussion around this academic, performance, they send the older sibling. Can you imagine that? So I could sense that it's probably because most times daddy is probably, both parents are elderly, and most times I feel they do not give him that attention, that time that he needs. So most
Yeah.
times it's with his siblings.
Every
So
child, every child needs that attention. So if you find out that something like that is happening, what you can do as the parent is, and I'll say this to parents, there's no perfect parents.
yeah.
Not even all the coaches you see and you listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's quite a pity that we live in an era where if you show the true side of you, then nobody buys from you. You need to put up a picture for people to be
Mm-hmm.
able to buy from you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's talk for another day. However, you need to know that there's no perfect parent. Your coaches are not perfect. Your teachers are not perfect. Your parents are not perfect. You can never even be perfect. That's the reason why we're striving towards perfection. Just continue to strive until the day we finish and we take a bow from the stage and move. Okay, knowing that, I need you to know that you have not failed when you see your child not meeting up certain standards that you may have, put in place that may even be things that shouldn't have been in place in the first instance. So when the child starts to show behaviors like that, it's an opportunity for you to correct. How can you repair? How can you correct? Like I said, I'll use normal layman's terms, all those big English: repair the process, connect to correct. I'll just use the ones that we know because as parents, our heads are too full to even start.
Yeah.
So how do we even correct the children? How do we correct whatever it is that may have the mistakes that we may have made as parents? First of all, tell the child, depending on the age of the child. Oftentimes they start to show those things at 6, 7, 8, 8, 9. They start showing things like that, 10, especially for girls. What of me, mommy? What of me? Am I not? But mommy, you did not talk about me. You talked about the person, but you did not talk about me. What of me? So you would say to the child, so I didn't talk about you because at this point there's nothing to say about you. Do you remember yesterday? Did we talk about you? Yes. Okay. So when there's something to say about you, we will talk about you. Okay? 1. 2, I will say to the child, I need you to also understand that whether I say or I don't say doesn't change the fact that you are fair and you are intelligent. It might be important for mommy to say this to you, but in the classroom, your teacher is going to have 30 children in front of her. She might forget you. She might remember somebody else. Are you going to feel bad that your teacher doesn't do this? Or your teacher did not say your hair is also beautiful because she said the other person's hair is beautiful. Is your teacher not a human being? Your teacher is a human being, so your teacher may not her because your teacher did not see you. Just because your teacher did not see you, not because your teacher does not like you or
Yeah.
because you don't have a beautiful hair. So you tell yourself that you have a beautiful hair because your hair is beautiful, or is your hair not beautiful? Good. So if your hair is beautiful, why do you need your teacher to tell you your hair is beautiful? However, you're saying that to the child, and then you're telling yourself as the parent, I get work. Oh. It means that every morning when I wake up, I'm going to figure out how to, use some validating words. I'm going to pay attention to how I correct this child. Because sometimes when a child doesn't do something, and you correct in a certain way, it can also make the child lose the confidence and feel the need to be validated. I'm going to also pay attention to how I speak about this child's siblings in front of this child, especially. So you do with the child, then you tell yourself so you do one with your child. If you do one with your child, you have 10 to do with yourself. If you do two with your child, you have 20 to do with yourself.
Wow, thank you so very much. Thanks in the house. Please feel free to drop your questions. Feel free to, drop your observations, your ideas, your insights too in the chat box. And to the very last question on this call. Now we have looked at developing the growth mindset, which of course we know that is still a work in progress, is a work in progress for us as a parent and for our children. Now, what is one practical action that something parents can do tonight, even before they hit the bed? What's that thing you encourage them to do tonight to ensure that they communicate to their children that they are being seen and that they are being heard and they are being seen? What is that thing you want parents to do tonight? That practical action or step they can take tonight to tell their children that, here, I'm your parent, I love you, and I hear you and I see you. In case there are children that probably are not feeling seen and heard, what do you advise them to do tonight?
Okay, I think the major thing I would say is, parents, please just drop your phones. Just put it away. And then listen to the child. You're not
Just hit
listening to
it.
say anything. You're
Yeah.
just listening to see. You're listening to understand. You're listening to be there. Listen to the things they are saying. Listen to the things they are not saying. Those ones are the most important things. The ones they are not saying, the ones they are just acting out. Listen to your children. They'll have a lot to say to you. You need to just be present and listen.
Wow, thank you so very much. Parents, I hope that we got that. It requires that we are being present with our children. And of course, we know that it's quite challenging. But remember, we have a lot to gain when we are being present with these children. And of course, the practical insight or the practical action, the step we are to do tonight is to drop our phone. And I think that could work in the aspect that at least before they go to bed, we expect that they hit the bed before us. So we can just drop our phones in the meantime, at least before they go to bed, listen to them, talk with them, look at even those things that are not said. Be observant enough to even hear those things they are not saying to us, because they actually have a lot to say. Thank you so much, Coach Daisy, for being here tonight. Oh, somebody has a question. Let me see. Oh, yes. All right, sir. You can unmute your mic. To ask your question.
Yes, I just have two things to say. The first thing is to say thank you for this organizing such events. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And the second thing is I want to say the Nigerian parents, as in I want to encourage parents here also to say you are doing a lot. You have done well, even if things might still not be going well. Because the reason I'm saying this is I teach in America. I teach middle school kids. And I was just smiling. Because I see a lot of things in class here. That's when you will know that at times if you don't leave something, you will not know how well that thing was, or you will not appreciate it. Because I teach in America, I won't lie to you, I appreciate the Nigerian culture. No matter what any child is, no matter the amount of tantrum any child is throwing in Nigeria, you can't compare it to this place.
Wow.
Teaching is what I love doing, but my sister, I won't lie to you, I don't tire. I don't tire. For this place right here, I don't tire. You get what I'm saying? Because teaching is fun, but it is what those are the two things. Thank you. And to encourage
Thank you so very much for expressing that. I personally think that parenting is making teaching more challenging.
Exactly.
What do you think? That's the way I see it, because
I
sincerely feel what you're trying to say. And even for us in Nigeria, sometimes you're going to work in the morning and it's like, oh my goodness, especially when you remember that child and this child and this child, that out of nowhere in the middle of a class will just do something to trigger the whole class, and before you try to calm them, and you are still thinking of how you can achieve your goals to help those that are the slow learners and all of that. So I feel that parenting is still where we are coming back to, is still helping parents to be more intentional about their children, because the truth remains that if parents are doing their best, if they are doing, yes, nobody is perfect, nobody can, achieve 100% results, but if you are doing their best, if they can say no to certain things, to say yes to being present with their children, some of the challenges teachers or educators are having in the classroom will no longer be there. So I just feel that the little we can do, or the bit we can do in our own capacity, we just keep doing it and keep encouraging them. Yes, we know that they need to eke out a living and, fend for the family and all of that. But parenting it carries more weight than some of these things, because at the end of the day, my people would say that the child you have not trained will end up selling the house that you have, built.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
And those are the things that oftentimes, sometimes keep me going, because you do what you need to do in the classroom, and then sometimes you get certain emails and you just sit down like this and you're reading the email and you're wondering from where to where, and then you do what you need to do. You're done doing it and you tell yourself, when the chips are down,
my sisters, Nigerian parents are trying. Nigerian parents are trying. I know what I'm saying. A parent here almost came to come and beat me up because I didn't allow his son to play soccer.
Wow.
He came to fight me, as in, you don't know, Nigerian parents are trying. See, it is, I don't know how else to express it. Just for a year, I feel like I choose the wrong choice. But it is not.
It is actually, it is well. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The Oak Parent Circle is a monthly, conversation we have by inviting experts, to, discuss and enlighten us about certain aspects, that to the end that we raise well-rounded children. And that's the reason why we're here tonight. We appreciate our guests for being here, for putting our time to be here, and to enlighten us more on how to raise emotionally balanced children. And of course, you agree with me that you have learned one or two things that you're going to start implementing. I think you start with being intentional, then ensure that you implement all of the things you're learning, either by reading up in books or by listening or being in conversations or in forums like this, where the goal is to keep parenting better. And I know that once we are intentional, once we put our minds to it, of course, there's a tendency for us to achieve all we have set our minds to. So once again, thank you, Coach Daisy. And I want to also enlighten our parents here that the Oak Academy is, of course, we are here to support parents, and that's part of what we are doing here tonight, either through our Fun Stories Reading Club for young learners, where we help to develop their passion for reading, or through our writing programs. We also specialize in, supporting parents by, connecting them with professional tutors that would help achieve academic excellence for their children. So either of these services, you're welcome. You can always send a DM to us in any way you feel that you need support or you need help. Yes, we agree that parenting can be a lot. It can be overwhelming sometimes. But yes, I know that it's not wrong to seek or to ask for help. And that's why we are here to help. Once again, thank you everyone for being here. And a special thank you, appreciation goes to our guest, Miss Daisy, for being here. Thank you so much, my darling coach. And I want to wish everyone a lovely, lovely night rest. Thank you. And if you are not following us on our social media pages, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, as we are there as Oak _, academic tutors. We are also on Facebook. And of course, to our guest, she's on Instagram as Daisy Parenting, and on Facebook as
The Purposeful Parent.
Purposeful Parent. And of course, she has her personal page as Daisy. So I would encourage. Yes, I would encourage us to, follow her to learn other tips or strategies that have not been shared here. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a beautiful night
Coach
rest.
Daisy,
yes.
Can you put your handles on the chat? Can you put your handles on the chat?
Okay.
Your Instagram, because I didn't get the name to check.
Thank you, Kimchi. Thank you for being here. All right.
Sorry. Thank you so much. I've done that.
Yeah. So I can also share the link with you, sir, if that's okay by you. Yes, I can just drop the link on WhatsApp. So once again, thank you, everybody, and have a beautiful night rest. Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Everybody.